So the NBA draft is tomorrow. So this is my official 2024 NBA mock draft. So it's a number one pick. Had Alex Sarr at number one the entirety of the year, and the day before, I'm gonna switch it to Zachary Reese. It feels it's not gonna be Sarr. I think we all know it's not gonna be. I think it should be Sarr. Personally, I think it should be Sarr. I think he fits better. I think he has higher potential than anybody in this draft. I think it's Alex Sarr, or it should be Alex Sarr. But I'd rather be right than go based on what I think would happen. And it's probably, I think there's maybe maybe a 3% chance it's still Alex Sarr, but I probably still give like a 65% chance it's Reese and the rest goes to Klingon. And it makes the Wizards' life so happy that they just get Alex Sarr. He's such a perfect fit in Washington. You don't draft another wing. You don't have a clog of wings now. You can go guard whoever your guard of the future will be. Probably not Jordan Poole, but I assume that means in a situation where they trade Kyle Kuzma, you have Poole, Koulibaly, top 10 pick. Corey Kispert has been good for you the past few years. Denny Avdija, top 5 pick, and now Alex Sarr, number 2 overall pick. That's a tremendous future in Washington. 3, I I think it's obviously it's more likely every day that Houston takes with this pick because it hasn't been traded yet. But I still don't think Houston takes this pick. But if they will, they seem to love Reece Shepard. He seems to just fit here better than anybody else anyway. I think this is kind of an obvious pick if this is a stick and pick. San Antonio, I I think this is Stephon Castle, and you can let him, depending on what you do as 8, you can let him run. You can let him run the 1. You can let him be your backup 1. And if you want to draft a guard no, that would be a Nikola Topic situation, which I don't know. I haven't planned this out fully, so I don't know if I'm going to have Topic at 8. But you can let him run 1. You can let him run the wing. You can play him however you see fit in San Antonio. There's no logjam of guards there. So I think this is a good spot for him. He wants to play backup guard, and the Spurs, you have Wemby. Obviously, you have the guy who I think should have won Defensive Player of the Year, and now you get another really good defender because the overall defense of the Spurs just sucks. 5, Chicago. 5, Detroit. I think this is between these two, Buzelis and Connect. Connect fits their timeline a little more, but I think Buzelis' upside, his shooting upside, he shot 40% in college or high school. He did not shoot well in the G League. I think he has way more just upside than anybody else at this point. And if you think you can develop him, I think this is definitely like a really good guy to get. Charlotte. I think this could potentially be a trade spot, but who's available here? It's actually I really don't know who I want to pick. Klingon, it's between Klingon and Holland for me. I'll say it because Klingon, Mark Williams has played 60 games over the past 2 years. He played 19 this year, 41 his rookie year. And do you think Nick Richards can be your full-time center if Mark Williams on the floor is great, but he's just never on the floor. But I'll say you have hope for him and all of that. I'm very high on Ron Holland. I think in his situation, I think maybe not he doesn't fit with any of the top 5 teams, but I think he's a top 5 player. He has a lot of defensive upside. So I know he's going to be a good defender in this league. It's just if you can get his shooting right, which is about 90% of this draft. And Portland's very happy. I think if Portland would be very, very happy for Donovan Klingon to just be there. I think one of Ayton, if not both of Ayton and Williams, are going to be out this offseason. You get a big. You already have a plethora of guards with Simmons, Scoot, and Anthony Simons. They need big help. They need some wing help too, but big is definitely their biggest need. Now for San Antonio. I don't think this is going to be a guard. I think Topic falls because of the ACL. I think we know Dillingham's going to fall. I'm going to go with Tijan Salon here. This is just high upside. You pair him with Wembanyama. Tijan Salon is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, boomer bust pick in this draft. And you have 2 first-round picks. You kind of, honestly, I don't want to say you're playing house money with a pick, but you trade Jakob Poeltl for a top 10 pick. Might as well try to get a guy who's really high upside. Ex-Memphis comes easily with no Klingon on the board. I think Memphis is the team that ends up trading with Houston, was trading with Charlotte, whatever, getting Klingon in some sort of package tomorrow. But without that, Connect can be another wing for you. You have a good young wing group. You have obviously Desmond Bain starting. Vince Williams, broke out. D.J. Jackson had a really good rookie year, but just get more. I mean, Connect fits their timeline. He's one of the most win now players, if not the most win now player in this draft. Next, Utah. I don't think they're 100% like need guard. I would rather draft them wing, and that is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give them Cody Williams, just a really willing defender. He can shoot, shot well in college. He's a turnover machine. They don't show turnovers here. Turnover machine. But I'd rather get Utah wings. They got Keontae George. They have Colin Sexton. They have a good amount of guards. So get yourself a wing. Now, for Chicago, so much talent still on this board that, because we expect Rob to fall. Collier's not even on here, but we expect him to fall. Ron Holland could fall. I had him going 6. So there is a lot of talent on this board that you really don't expect to be here. And I'm going to go with Serbian. I'm going to go Nikola Topis. You do have a lot of guards. You have Lonzo, Cody Williams, Cody White. You have, who else? Ayo Dosunmu. Dosunmu can play your backup 2, your backup 1. Cody White played the 2 his entire, like most of his career. I don't expect Lonzo Ball to be on this team, so I think there is room to draft a guard. You're Chicago. You're starting a rebuild. It seems like this is the year that they finally start. Zach LaVine's gone. DeMar DeRozan's gone. Get definitely the highest upside guy, and maybe a faller because of injury. Take the injury risk because you can afford it. Oklahoma City. I also think this is a very good trade candidate for any team who wants a more win now player. They do need backup big, but who do I want to give to Oklahoma City? I may just give them Zach Edey or Filipowski's. I don't think is going to be picked this high. You know what? Let's give them. They don't need a Zach Edey type of big, but honestly, I don't really know I know what type of big they need, but they need big. It really just seems to be the only hole on their roster, or hole, quote unquote. They have such a deep roster. And Zach Edey's just a win now player. Can just be an anchor on your defense. Kings always had them. I haven't done a mock draft since the Malik Monk thing, and I always had them drafting a Malik Monk replacement because it's just felt inevitable that he was going to leave. He doesn't leave, and where do you go? I think you can still just try to draft the same thing. Draft a shooter off the bench. Get yourself Jared McCain. Portland. What do I want to do for Portland? I had them drafting Klingon, right? Klingon first. Looking around, I'm not in love with any of these options for Portland because they don't need guard. And really, these big options aren't great. Khalil Ware can go in this spot for sure, but I already had them drafting center. Don't really want to do that, even though he can space the floor. Tristan Da Silva is definitely more of a win now player, and I would expect him to maybe go to more a later win now type of team. But I think he is the best wing at this point, or maybe Jacoby Walter too. But I'm going to draft Tristan Da Silva here. Next, Miami. I'm gonna give them Rob Dillingham, which is really a steal to be their backup point guard and future starting point guard. Also, I don't know why he's dropping. I get it, he's small, but he can really shoot. He was really good in college. I don't get the full fall, but I know it's going to happen. 15 maybe too rich of a fall, but I know he's at least not going to be a top 10 pick, or maybe Utah will snag him, or maybe this is just all smoke screens and we're all being lied to. Philly, Devin Carter is still here, man. I can't leave him on the board much longer. This is the guy I 100% don't expect to fall, but I don't want to say shit happens, but it's just kind of how the board fell, and I don't know if he can start for you. He probably won't start alongside Tyrese Maxey, but he can just be future 6-man in a type of year. 6-man type of guy for you. 6-man of the year type of guy. There you go. There's words. This seems easy. Lakers need a backup big really badly. Khalil Ware. This is around his range, probably like the 12 to 20 range. Seems like a great fit. He can play alongside 82 if you want to run rotations. Next, Magic. What do I want to do for Orlando? I know. Keyshawn George has a lot of shooting upside. Super athletic. Really like him. Toronto. Jacoby Walter, I think, is the biggest folder. I've had him mocked here for a little bit now. Can provide shooting upside. He's probably besides Reed Shepard, he's the guy who's may get the most minutes as a freshman or like one of the college freshmen, one of the more win now college freshmen is what I'm trying to say. And obviously for Toronto, he's not going to be that. They're not a win now team, but for the Cavs, they could use backup guard. They could use a backup. I'm going to give them the backup big and give them Yves Missi. New Orleans, they also need backup big, but I think at this point we're exhausting all the centers, and then you still have a couple of bigs here. You have Tyler Smith. You have not Ryan Dunn. Where am I supposed to be looking? Power forwards here. Kyle Filipowski, Deron Holmes still, but I'm gonna give them backup guard. Your C.J. McCollum, or yeah, don't want to say your C.J. McCollum replacement because they do different things. I think Bub Carrington is much more of a playmaker, much more of a typical point guard than C.J. McCollum. You can develop him over the years. I still think they need to get some sort of backup guard, or not backup guard, starting guard, like a DeJounte Murray, something like that, more of a primary ball handler than C.J. McCollum. And I know you do have Dyson Daniels, you have Jose Alvarado. One of those guys can leave soon. If Dyson Daniels is definitely an enticing trade chip, Jose Alvarado's a free agent. Suns, every time. I just realized they still have Isaiah Collier on the board. I probably should have drafted him to New Orleans. But how shit goes. Isaiah Collier to the Phoenix Suns. I do think he drops at least past 18. I mean, he has injury stuff. That's really it. He missed like a whole month of the season and then completely fell off after that. The only reason I can see him falling. That's weird. I've had Tyler Kolek there all the time, but you got to go with Collier. Bucks, Johnny Furphy feels easy. They never have shooting guards. Their shooting guard depth is terrible. Get him a shooter off the bench. Knicks getting back-to-back here. I'm going to go, where is he? Tyler Smith. It's a backup big. And then I'm going to go with maybe the most, besides like the top 3 picks, the most picked of this draft, and it's Ryan Dunn to New York. He's the best defender in this class. He just feels like such a Tibbs guy. Everybody's mocking him here. Washington, we drafted their big of the future. Let's get their point guard of the future, Tyler Kolek. He can run backup point guard immediately for them. He can even maybe get into this. I don't think he's going to get into the starting rotation, but you hope that he's just a veteran already. He's the most win now player in this draft. Minnesota. Let's go Flip. Flip is falling. Let's grab Kyle Filipowski there to run some backup big. Denver. They can use any win now type of depth, but I really like Jalen Tyson. I don't think he falls out of the first round. So Utah. I'm going to draft them Deron Holmes. I think he's just BPA. And then finally, Boston, Baylor Shireman, win now player. He can just join the rotation immediately for Boston. They just need anybody who can join the rotation now. So that's my official 2024 NBA mock draft. Thanks y'all for watching. Join the Discord. See ya.